The 2025 Major League Baseball season is complete. The Padres finished 90 and 72. Welcome into another edition of Friar Territory here on the Foul Territory Network. I'm Kyle Glaser alongside the great former Padres center fielder Mike Cameron. Mike, we chronicled the ups and downs of this team all year, the good, the bad, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. And in the end, they put together their second straight 90-win season. Overall, when you look at the Padres and everything they accomplished this year, what's your overall takeaways from this season?
I mean, a lot of times it's been trying to figure out, you know, what do you have as starting pitching? Uh, what do you have as a is Bogarts going to play well? Are some of the guys going to bounce back? Do we have enough in left field?
Yeah.
Um, it, and who's going to, be able to have an impact on the season? We know Tatis is supposed to have an impact on the season. You're
Yep.
looking for a second year center fielder to try to at least match his production. Um, but the one of the biggest things too is, what are you going to continue? Can Manny keep the level
Yep.
up as to the standard, as to what he is, injury wise? So there just been many aspects to come about. And when you have a situation like the Padres, which probably supposed to have a good team, and you just don't have the firepower on the back end, meaning bench guys and everything else. If somebody gets hurt, do you have able to call somebody up? And are we set enough? Well, which you're never set enough in pitching wise, but the opportunity, to have your guys give you 170, 180 innings over the course of a season, at least three or four guys. But at the end of the day, they found um, made some great additions at the trade deadline. Laureano, I mean, it has to speak to Laureano, what he's been able to do. O'Hearn also. And then, adding back end of the bullpen, you had to give up a lot to
Yep.
get to this point. And, Adam Mason. So, man, they found a way to do it, and they should feel very confident going into this because they've actually been playing very well right now. And the good thing about this, when you get into, like, you don't want to play in a wild card, but it's 2 out of 3, it's a crapshoot. But when you're playing well, you just want to take a day off and get right back at it. And look forward to seeing it, man. It's going to be an exciting playoff for this San Diego Padre team and the Chicago Cubs. I mean, it's going to be pretty special.
Absolutely. We'll have a full preview of that. But first, I want to recap everything that happened here in the 2025 season. As we mentioned, the Padres finished 90 and 72. And that is a historic finish for the Padres because this is the first time in franchise history the Padres have had back-to-back 90-win seasons. It's kind of amazing when you think about it, when the franchise has been around for 50 plus years. But look, let's not sugarcoat it. There were a lot of lean years in this franchise's history, but they are starting to come out of it. They've now reached the postseason 4 times in the last 6 years, back-to-back 90-win seasons. There has been so much up and down, and there's been so much discussion about, AJ Preller, good GM, bad GM. At the end of the day, this team is accomplishing things it has never done before. And even though some of the methodologies behind it, people are going to question it, the results have been there. And we really saw this team finish on such a high note. They won 7 of their last 8, including sweeping the Arizona Diamondbacks. They won 12-4 in the finale, an emphatic finish at home. I really do think this Padres team, look, let's just be frank, this was not as talented or as good of a team as last year's team, but they had 40 comeback wins. They scratched and clawed and found a way. They started great and they finished great. And that's what you want to see from a team. Get off to a hot start and finish strong. This team deserves a lot of credit for all their struggles offensively, for all the times their starting pitching fell apart. They still found a way to win 90 games, and that is never easy. That's something never to take for granted. And all in all, I think when you look at the season, It's an unqualified success. I really do believe that.
Yeah, God, I mean, like you don't take these things for granted. We know
Yeah.
how hard it is to win year in and year out, no matter how much you spend or what players you bring in. I mean, obviously, the more the the better the players you bring in, and maybe add from your farm system who has impact. Um, it could be very beneficial to you down the stretch, but you just don't know in a major league season, man. When you play for 6.5 months, it's a tough task, and you have to be have some type of culture and foundation in place,
Yeah.
plug and play sometimes, and have your main core for one, but then have guys step up and get things done. Have guys have uh, great years, career years. Sometimes it could be just the consistency of the offense of 5 or 6 guys having a great season, and just kind of ride out those moments in the course of the season where things don't go well, but at the same time it's beneficial to have 4 pieces like Manny Machado, El Nino, and having even Luisa Rise, just like these guys are important to the team. We understand that everyone is not going to be successful over the course of a season. You're just trying to get some consistency out of guys, and in this case, the Padres were able to put it together. I mean, kudos to the front office. Those guys,
Yeah.
they, you know, I mean, they put aces out on the table, and in return, they took a gamble and they got some greatness out of it. And they're just looking to continue that now going into the playoffs. They should feel pretty confident going in, considering you got some guys that feel good about what they're doing at the plate and also on the mound.
Absolutely. And that's one of the keys I want to hit with you on. A lot of the Padres' best hitters are starting to swing the bats at the same time. And we've talked about this is something that has not happened a lot this year due to injuries, due to ill-timed slumps. Fernando Tatis Jr. has been the subject of so much conversation over the course of the season, from probable MVP candidate in April to
Yeah,
the worst
yeah.
slump of his career in May and June to a little bit of a bounce back in July, back down in August. But he had a great September. 293, 7 homers, 14 RBIs, and 901 OPS. And we just saw him have a rough battle with COVID. He had to miss the Padres 3-game series against the Brewers. And what does he do when he comes back? Homers in back to back games, including a grand slam. He was great all month. Jackson Merrill, who we talked about so much this season, 3 different IL stints, finishes September hitting 275 with 7 homers, 16 RBIs, and 946 OPS over the course of the month. Luis Arias, who had a down year by his standards, guess what? Finished the season on a 15-game hitting streak, hit 352 in September. Even guys like Ryan O'Hearn, he was in a big slump for a little bit, hit 293 in September, finished the year on a 9-game hitting streak. Manny Machado has been up and down this month, but we saw him finish better than he started. With this, the Padres have won 7 of 8. When their offense is rolling, we know they have the pitching to win any game they're in. The
Yeah.
question I want to ask you, Mike, is how much does this carry over to the postseason? How much you've lived this so many times.
Yeah, yeah.
End of season success and end of season momentum carry over into the postseason.
Um, I don't think there's a lot of momentum that goes into the postseason other than your players feel good about themselves and where they end the season at. The good thing is these guys have experienced playoffs baseball, so they know, like, okay, all right, we know this, this is a turn the page moment right now, and I feel like the momentum is dictated by your starting pitching,
Yeah.
and so that is, if you get an opportunity and your guys understand that and they know they can get out to a good start, and we can allow some of this offense that has been continued into September, this good offense they've got. We know for a fact that Tatis is dangerous when he feels good and he's swinging the bat well. I
Yeah.
mean, and you need these type of players in postseason play because you're generally facing the best pitching, and they're very careful. They're very careful with guys that can do damage. And Wrigley Field in October, the wind could be shifting one way or the other, so it could be It could be one of those type of games, but we do understand and know that at the back end of this bullpen, um, for the San Diego Padres, they have the guys that are capable with the swing and miss stuff. You know, they have that, and you need this type of pitchers in the back end of your bullpen if your starters can get you through a game. I don't know how Shilty is going to maneuver, with every game being critical since it's like this is uh, those short series, man. Anything can happen. So you got to do just about everything you can to survive game one, game two, and possibly have a game three for yourself.
Football is back, and so is your shot at big wins. With DraftKings Pick 6, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, your game day instincts can score you real money. Here's the play. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and unlock the upside every snap brings. The better your calls, the bigger your payout. And here's the kickoff bonus. New DraftKings customers get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. This season, play your player instincts. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code FOUL. That's code FOUL. Play just $5, get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call, ride the upside, in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Absolutely. And we will have a full preview of the Cubs here. We're going to talk about on this show. We will have a full preview with Northside Territory tomorrow. And we will have post-game recaps of every Padres playoff game. So we will have you covered here on Friar Territory. Mike, before we move forward, I do want to look back. You and I, back in early March, I should say mid-March, made our preseason predictions. We predicted over-unders for how the Padres would do as a team, player performances, all the good stuff. And now it is time to see how we did and hold ourselves accountable. Going back to that episode, we put the over-under for the Padres wins in line with Vegas at 85.5. You said you thought they would have 87 wins. I said 85 wins. We were both right. And on top of that, we both said we thought that they would be right on the cusp of playoff contention and probably fall just short.
Yeah.
Instead, the Padres won 90 games and we're in playoff position pretty much every day this season. There was a brief blip there over the summer where they fell out for a day or two. But for the most part, this is a team that was in playoff position the entire year. They got in comfortably. And not only that, they were mathematically in contention for the division title going into the final week of the season.
Yeah.
So look, I own it. We own it. We were light on this team. And I remember, I think about May, we had a conversation too, where I was like, yeah, I was light. You could see the way they were playing, their quality of baseball, knowing that they were going to make some additions at the deadline. It was pretty clear early on that Vegas was light. And look, I'll own it. I was light.
Yeah. No doubt. I mean, we can only go off of what you're seeing and how the roster was shaped up. And a lot of the questions was at the forefront of the pitching. And we knew that the D-backs were good the year before. And you knew that the Dodgers are always going to be good over there. So you have to understand it from their perspective. But yes, we did fall short. Although I was very, very close. I was a three-game set. So, but I'm happy for them. The guys are able to find themselves and still continue to put themselves in position to be where they are today.
Absolutely. 40 comeback wins, 17 wins in their final at-bat. This was a team we saw scratch and claw their way to so many wins when things weren't going their way. And look, that mental toughness, that resilience, that's been the one thing that was consistent all year from game 1 to game 162. And it made a big difference. And Mike, what's interesting about this is we were light on the Padres win total. Yeah. But we were actually a little too high on some of their individual performances. And this is where it's really interesting because you would have thought for the Padres to get to 90 wins, some of these players would have had to do what we thought they were going to do. And I want to start with Fernando Tatis Jr. We set the over-under at 30 home runs this season. We both took the over. He finished under. And the Padres still won 90 games. We set the over-under for Manny Machado and at 800 OPS because he hadn't crossed it the previous 2 seasons. We both said the over. He finished under. Jackson
Yeah.
Merrill, we talked about, would he be a top 10 MVP candidate? We said maybe, but he's not going to finish any worse than 12th or 13th. Well, he ended up missing a bunch of the season and won't be a top 15 MVP finisher.
Yeah.
So in some ways, we were too high on the individuals on this team,
Yeah.
but too low on the team itself. And I think, again, that really speaks to the supporting cast stepping up, getting a lot of contributions from guys. Look, in the first half, it was guys like Ryan Bergert and Stephen Kolek who are no longer on the team. In the
Yeah.
second half, it was a lot of those trade deadline additions. Also, guys like Nick Pivetta and Gavin Sheets having career years. These were the best years of Nick Pivetta and Gavin Sheets' career. So I really do think it's important to highlight that we were higher on the Padres stars than they actually performed, but the team outperformed our projections. And that speaks to me to, I would say, an underestimation of the depth, but not in the sense of, look, we knew the catching situation was going to be bad, the left field situation was going to be bad, and it was bad. But a lot of the supporting cast stepped up in a big, big way this year. And that is why the Padres are where they are above anything else.
Yeah. Look, it takes everyone.
Yeah.
We understand when you have superstars, they can contribute in a different manner to carry your team. But in this case right here, the supporting cast of Manny Machado, Tatis, and I mean, I want to say the kid, but I don't want to put that kind of pressure on him.
Yeah.
I understand it from that perspective, but like these are your two main cogs, and Manny's aging a little bit, and so it makes it a little bit challenging to continue to go out and do this. But he's steady. He does what he does all the time. But man, Jackson Merrill did come back strong to state his case as to what he was, but you got guys that contributed very big at certain times, O'Hearn. You got Bogarts coming through, having a big month or two. You even got some things out of Cronenworth and what he was able to accomplish. But obviously Gavin Sheets, and then adding some catching. And for me, I mean, and the last but not least, but having Laureano come in and take up a lot of the slack that was a deficit in left field made a very big difference in impact. And some of the guys starting to turn it over in the pitching staff, along with Pavetta. And I think who else? Someone got hurt that we
Well,
really.
Michael King got hurt.
Yes,
Darvish
yes,
came
yeah,
back late. I mean, a
yeah,
lot of things. And I think that's important to talk about, right? If I
yeah,
had told you before the season that Darvish would miss half the season and be ineffective when he came back, that Michael
yeah,
King would miss 3 months, that Dylan Cease
yeah,
would have the worst year of his career dating back to his rookie season, that
yeah,
Manny Machado would have a sub 800 OPS, that Fernando Tatis Jr. would have one of the worst slumps of his career, that Jackson Merrill was going to have 3 IL stints, you would have said, oh man, the season went to hell. We finished in 4th place. All those things happened and they still won 90 games. And again, just hats off to everyone involved, because realistically, I think if you described all the things that actually did happen, you would have thought, wow, they went 75 and 87. The wheels completely came off. And now people are worried about their jobs. Yet here they are.
Yeah. I mean, kudos. I mean, look, kudos to Prilla, Shilty, and these guys being able to continue to put the things together that they need to have for the squad. And also that boosts the morale of the team when you make these type of moves. You bring guys in that that can help you right away, and then these guys help you. It just boosts the morale of the clubhouse. It boosts the morale of the culture that's already in place. And this is one of the reasons why they were able to finish with 90 wins and winning going out also.
No question about it. A couple of other preseason predictions we need to go over. Luis Arias, I put the over-under at a 350 batting average. I was hot. You took the under, and man, you were right. Although you still said like 330.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to see 2 years ago Luis Arias in Miami. Instead, he's 292. So I'll take the L on that one. Jake Cronenworth, first baseman, we put a 400 slugging percentage on him. You took the over, I took the under, so I was right on that one. But again, he contributed in a lot of other ways. Those were two of the other main over-unders. Another one we had was Gavin Sheets' 20 homers. We
Sheets.
both took the under, but said he'd be close. He finished with 19.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
the one that you and I were most on point on of all the predictions. The other one we went with was Robert Suarez. Would he get to 40 saves? And we both said we thought he would finish just short, and not because of any failure on his part, but because we didn't think the Padres would be a 90-win team. They were a 90-win team, and he got to 40 saves. So realistically, you and I hit like 100 something. We hit like Martin Maldonado on our preseason.
Oh my God, man, just very paltry.
Yeah, it was not good. But again, hey, first of all, own it, accountability.
Yeah.
And just props. Like, look, whenever, and this was true when I was at Baseball America and I was charged with, ranking prospects and writing about prospects. And anytime you're trying to predict the future, right? Whether you're trying to pick stocks, investing in real estate, projecting, elections, or projecting what players are going to do, you're going to have some misses. And anytime a guy exceeds the expectations that I had for him, dude, just mad props. Like, no, it's not anything like, oh man, I wish someone felt none of that. I mean, these guys worked their tails off. They got the job done. And again, just I'm not wearing a hat, but tip of the cap, off, like props, boys, all the way around.
Definitely. I mean, it was all in good spirits of just understanding what was presented in front of us at the time. There's no crystal ball in the game of baseball, man. There's no magic crystal ball. You got to go out and get it and grind through it from April to the end of September. And in this way right here, we probably would have had a better view if we would have revisited it at the All-Star break, but at the same time, that's not how it works. But kudos to the guys. They were able to come back and put themselves in position and pop some champagne, and now get revived, refreshed, and headed to the Midwest.
All right, Mike, before we move on to the wild card series, I want to ask you, what grade do you give the Padres for this season? Just the regular season.
Because they were so good at home and couldn't figure it out to really on the road, it wouldn't allow them to challenge for the division title against a Dodger team that was kind of not their best this year. Yep. And so if there was a time to do it, the Padres had an opportunity but their road record, man, kept them from being as consistent to win even more games in the division. So I'm going to give them, with the acquisition they made at the deadline and looking forward, I'll say B minus, B plus. I do think that, to come out of that, out of this, considering the National League wasn't great this year, but it was good enough to where it was in a position where teams who were 9-10 games out back in late August, July, and Cincinnati got into the playoffs. Where most of these guys are trading away their players, trying to get ready for the next season, and some things click. But so I'll give him a B minus because Priller he gambled a lot in giving away his number one, prize pick at shortstop, and then, but also getting Mason Miller, man. If he stays healthy, it's going to be dangerous still in the back of that bullpen for years to come.
FT Fam Superpower believes that every human has 100-year potential, and they're going to help you get there. I like the sweatshirt, Eric Kratz, and I also love the way that Superpower takes care of its members.
Yeah. You go get your lab test, you become the best you. You be a member of this group, and your test will come back. It's unlocking things that you didn't know about yourself. This is stuff that players used all the time. You can do it now too.
Exactly, Kratz. How many of you have gone to a doctor's appointment? You get the classic, oh, you're fine, or just drink more water. No real data, no real game plan. With one simple blood draw with Superpower and over 100 biomarkers. That is way more than what you'd usually get, and it unlocks so much more about your own body. Head to superpower.com to learn more and lock in the special $199 price while it lasts. After you sign up, they'll ask you how you heard about them. Please make sure to mention the FT podcast to support the show. Your biology decoded, your blueprint activated with Superpower.
I go B+. The only thing for me holding them back from the A or the A- is the fact that they were in first place toward the end of August. The Dodgers not playing well, and they had a chance to win the division and fell short. If they had overtaken the Dodgers, to me, that's the A, but this is still a good season. The B+.
Yeah.
And I do think, and this is the other thing I want to ask you. I asked, Tom Krasovic, longtime Padres writer, about this on Friday, but now that the season's done, I want to ask you.
Tommy.
Yeah, great guy.
Yeah.
Is this season for the Padres a success, regardless of what happens in the playoffs, in your mind?
I always think that, man, it's difficult to predict a team winning in the playoffs because it's a 3-game set, man. Anything can happen in a 3-game set, and so if it would have been 5-game set, you made it to the playoffs as a number 4 or 5 or whatever, so 3, 4 seed or whatever it may be. I do think anytime you make the playoffs, man, as long as they don't get blowed out for the first, 2 games, if you can make it last the whole series, then I always think that, playing in the playoffs is a success because it is not easy to get there, given you all the different aspects that come across the season that can derail your opportunity of getting in. And at this day and time, I feel like if you get in, man, if you have some things that are hot and that are rolling, it's a crapshoot. You can run it all the way to the World Series. It's just like that, Obviously, when you play those 5-game sets, it becomes a little bit more finding out who is the really better team at that particular time.
Yeah, no question about it. I do think that this season is a success. I will say I understand the argument that if they were to lose in the wild card round, the feeling of frustration setting in, I'd understand that because you feel like the team is taking a step back each time. 2022 NLCS, 2022 NLDS, and if 2025 is eliminating the wild card, you feel like you're taking steps back. So I would understand that. I do think that if they win the wild card series, regardless of what happens after that, yeah, this was a successful season. I understand that if they were to lose or get blown out, it kind of calls that into question. And Mike, that leads me into this upcoming series. The Padres head to Chicago. They will face the Cubs in a best-of-3 wild card series. As we've talked about, the Padres are coming in red hot. Most of their best hitters are swinging the bat very, very well. And on top of that, critically, they have gotten some good starting pitching recently beyond just Nick Pivetta. Dylan Cease, who we've talked about all year and has struggled, had a 3.12 ERA and 5 starts in September, finally showed some consistency. And that's big because it was a real question mark if after Nick Pivetta, the Padres are going to get any reliable starts. Given the way their hitters are performing, given Dylan Cease and Nick Pivetta going in pitching well, given the strength of their bullpen, does that outweigh the Padres' road struggles for you? Or do you think that at the end of the day, this is just a different team at home versus on the road, and it's just going to be too tough?
Well, the first thing I would say is I know the Padres would have been loved to have been playing at home and to open up.
1,000%.
But
1,000%.
as you go into this, you faced your demons, and hopefully you've exercised them to be able to go in with a clear mindset, and it doesn't become a topic going into this series against the Cubs. You already understand that we wasn't very good on the road, but now it's back to 0. And look, it's like a lion doesn't change his stripes, or a tiger doesn't change his stripes. So, but mentally, you want to go into this thing that you think that you have just as much of a chance to win the games as the Cubs do. So, if you can look at it as we just got to get one game to go back home, at least for one time. So I think you look at it in this sense and you try to find different aspects to be able to put yourself in a position to actually um, overcome the things that we already know very well. So I do think that they'll play a little bit better this time. I think the focus will be tremendous because this is it. You either get it done or you don't. So I think the focus will be a lot better also.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, right? I think that from the Padres' perspective, a lot of their key guys are hitting well. A lot of key guys are pitching well. We know the bullpen is locked down as always. Look, the Padres finished the year third in the majors in ERA. We know what this pitching staff is capable of. And they're coming up against a Cubs team that has a lot of offensive weapons, but a lot of those weapons have been scuffling the second half. Kyle Tucker's been hurt, has not been himself. He's back, but again, he's still not 100% himself. Pico Armstrong, Seiya Suzuki, Michael Busch, all these guys really, really struggled in the second half. Michael Busch found his power and just had a game where he should have hit for the cycle if Ollie Marmol had pitched to him. But at the end of the day, the Cubs' biggest weapon is their offense, and they are scuffling a little bit. It's funny, right? It's hard for me to trust because we've seen this movie before where the Padres look like world beaters at home. And like, man, they're rolling, they're hot, they look great. And then the second they get on the road, they completely fall apart. And just to put this in perspective, right? This isn't just a narrative. The Padres went 38-43 on the road this year. That is the worst road record of any team in the postseason, American League or National League. No one else had a road record as bad as the Padres. To put this in perspective, the difference in quality. The Padres' winning percentage at home is the equivalent of a 104 win team over the course of a 162 game season.
Yeah.
Their winning percentage on the road is equivalent to a 76 win team. Literally the difference between being the best team in baseball and being on the fringes of picking top 10 in the draft. And we've just seen it over and over and over. Same starting pitchers, same hitters, same health, everything's the same. And it's just two completely different teams at home and on the road. From a quantitative perspective, it's because the pitchers are allowing about a full run per game more on the road. And from a qualitative perspective, this team just does not come out with the same energy, intensity, and focus on the road as they do at Petco Park with the crowd behind them. So I struggle with this because I do think that, man, you look at the Padres, how they're playing, their pitching staff, how it lines up really well. If their hitters are rolling against the Cubs pitchers, they should be fine. We say, yeah, I would have no problem picking them. But again, I also don't want to fall victim to, oh man, they've looked so good this last week because we've seen this movie before. I'm split. I will say this. I think that no outcome will surprise me. If the Cubs win in 2, Cubs win in 3, Padres win in 2, Padres win 3. Every single one of those outcomes I think is very, very viable. Like, I don't think the Reds have any chance to beat the Dodgers. Like, that to me, if the Reds beat the Dodgers, it will be a shock, even in the best of three.
Yeah.
Padres,
Yeah.
I don't think any outcome is an upset. These are two really good teams with a lot of really good players, and this really is just going to be who gets hot at the right time. If the Cubs' big bats get going at the right time, it's going to be tough for the Padres to keep up with them. If the Padres' big bats stay hot and the Cubs' big bats stay cold, Padres are going to be in great shape.
Look, I'm very skeptical because that Padres are missing a very valuable piece in missing this series, Ramon Laureano.
Yes.
I don't know if Iggy is going to start for the Cubs or in one of those games, but this is one of the guys that has really posted probably close to a 900 OPS against lefties or something when he's playing. So you're missing a very big bat from that perspective. But I will say this. Because the Padres are in this position, I would think there would be a little more sense of urgency and understanding in this road series because that's all that's going to be talked about later tonight, tomorrow, leading up to the game, how they don't play well on the road. The players don't need to hear that. They already know. So they already know this. And I'm pretty sure Shilty will bring that up when the workout tomorrow. So so they understand it. It's going to be everywhere. I just think that these guys come out with a sense of urgency. and
Yeah.
also feed off the energy that's going to be playing in Wrigley Field. It's going to be electric in Wrigley Field.
Yes.
They haven't been there in so long either. So, I mean, feed off of that energy, man. Stay focused and give your team an opportunity to maybe steal a game in
Yeah.
Wrigley Field, man. And it can very well work out in that way. I think the players of this caliber and the veterans understand at this moment what is needed to be done. So you take it and run with it. But I'm in the same boat as you. It could go either way, because these are two good teams that finished up pretty strong and they feel pretty good. And the Cubs feel like they have an advantage playing at home. And the Padres like understand that, man, if we can sneak one and get back, anything's possible. So you just trying to do what you can do at this particular moment. And but you gotta play a good game of baseball. And I know, look, I know Shilty. I played with Craig. He's going to have those guys prepared for all the little integral details and everything else. So it's going to be something fun to watch in Wrigley. And is hopefully the win is not blowing out heavily. That's for sure.
Yeah, and you're right. We talk so much about Petco Park and how rowdy it can get. This is going to be the Cubs' first home playoff game since 2018. Because remember, 2020,
Yeah.
they made the wild card series. No fans were allowed
Yeah.
in the stands. So
True.
you know that Chicago Cubs fans are going to come out in full force, all the energy. They have been waiting for this for 7 years. And
Yeah.
whether the Padres feed off that or if they let it rattle them, as we have seen happen when they've gone on the road, it's, some tough places to play. It's going to be an interesting development to watch. There's no question about it. Nonetheless, I do think this will be the most high quality wild card series. Entertainment value, you've got the Red Sox and Yankees out in the AL. You've got the
Yeah.
Tigers and the Guardians facing off
Yeah.
after the Tigers blew a historic lead and the Guardians came back. And
Oof.
look, Reds Dodgers, I think we can acknowledge that one. And all likelihood is just going to be a quick, 2 and out, unless Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo shove, which is possible. But
Oh yeah.
I do think that as much as we will have a lot of entertaining series, I think this will be the best one. That said, Mike, before we wrap up, we have to talk about the rest of what happened in baseball.
Oof.
What is more amazing to you? The Guardians coming back from 15 and a half back. And not only that, they were down 11 games in early September to win the division, or the Mets doing the most on-brand Mets thing in what we've seen from them for years and years and years. An epic fail, missing out on the playoffs. And not only that, I love the part about this that the Reds opened the door for them. All they had to do was beat the
Literally.
Marlins, and they still
Yeah.
couldn't do it. It was the most Mets way to finish it imaginable. What's more amazing to you, the Guardians' success or the Mets' collapse?
I'm gonna have to go with this Guardians success, man. When you're down 11 games, bro, like you're just trying to have a good season. I mean, you're not thinking about no playoffs,
Yeah,
considering the way this Tigers team was playing.
yeah,
But kudos to those guys, man, and not packing it in and continuing. But that's what happened. I told you, when you get one of these teams that got a lot of young players that are starting to feel themselves, and they're like, oh, like, okay. And then you also have your leader in Jose Ramirez, who never shuts it down. This
yeah,
guy right here is ready to go at all times. So kudos to those guys. And they got like some arms over there too in
yeah,
Cleveland. They're scary.
yes,
They're scary, bro. So we know if you can get like some shutdown arms, that's gonna neutralize good offenses. I'm sorry, or it's gonna make you very difficult to score runs. And if you got to score runs off hitting homers off of these type of arms,
yeah,
good luck. And I mean, it's tough. Like Cleveland, they understand. They have a history. They have a culture that's been passed along and understanding that they're in it every year, no matter what,
yeah,
because that culture has been passed along, from my old manager Tito Francona. Kudos to him and getting in with Cincinnati. But you know, They're tough. That is one scary team. That is the one team that scares me because they are all playing at a high level and they feisty. They do it any type of ways. But the one main thing that they do well is throw that ball over the plate and spin it like crazy. So
No,
I would go with that. But the Mets are not far behind, man, because bro, when you spend close to $1 billion, and I know money doesn't mean anything, and you're off and you're playing well and you have these caliber players, I, it's, it's more disappointing to me in the brand of baseball they were playing.
yeah,
The mental mistakes, the errors. You're going to win and lose sometimes, but the way they were losing is like, come on, man. You can't have 8, 9, 10 game losing streaks in September.
yeah.
You can't do that. The brand of baseball they were playing is just wasn't good at all. And I'm pretty sure that Carlos was banging his head many a nights trying to get it figured out. But hey, man, like you're gonna learn one way or the other. I think you're starting to waste some of the greatest talent that they have there
Yeah.
on a yearly basis. These guys get old. Pete is a free agent now, so you don't know what you're going to do at first base. There a lot of their
Lindor's getting
pitchers
up there.
went, yeah,
Lindor's getting up
like
there. He's not a young man
yeah,
anymore. He's
no,
still
man.
good, but
So
yeah,
you,
it's
you
not
you
like,
keep waiting.
he's got a bunch
I
of
know
bunch
for a
of
fact now. I don't want to go over their thing, but they need they need a center fielder, and they need some guys that can actually do it well. There's good. Beatty had a good season, but we don't. It's still a question mark as to what he is. And when you're talking about the teams that play for championships or are trying to be in position to play for a championship, so yeah, man, it's kind of hard to see. It's hard to see that this goes on because their owner has went out above and beyond to make everything great there. So we'll see how it goes, man. But yeah, it's tough to see. I saw this in 2008. We've seen it before. So yeah, it's crazy. Crazy, crazy.
Absolutely. I think your point about the Guardians too. We need to appreciate what we just witnessed. The
Yeah.
Guardians went 19-4 over their final 23 games to win this division. Being down 15 and a half games at any point in a season and coming back to win a division has never happened in Major League history. The 1914 Miracle Braves were not down as many as 15 and a half. The 78 Yankees, Bucky Dent, they
Yeah.
were not down 15 and a half. The 95 Mariners coming back against the Angels, they were not down 15 and a half. All of the greatest, most unbelievable comebacks of all time that are in baseball lore, none of them were as great as what the Guardians just did. We just witnessed the single greatest comeback from being out of the postseason to a division champion in Major League history. 150 years of big league history. We have never seen this. And I think it needs to be appreciated. And you're right about starting pitching. The Guardians had 19 straight games where their starters allowed 2 earned runs or less. And guess what? They went 17-2 in those games.
Yeah.
When you have guys who can shove, and look, I know Tanner Bybee and Gavin Williams, and Logan Allen is not household names. These are all good arms. These are all really good arms.
Oh yeah.
They showed up at the biggest moment of the season when their team needed them.
Oh yeah. I mean, look, we're talking like elite, electric, fireballers, not these guys. Like, we're talking about guys that they're sitting, throwing 98 and everything else, and they got this all over the place, and they're young and they're vibrant. They're scary. I'm telling you, they are scary. They are no different than the Blue Jays with all the pitching they got. The top 2 starters or 3 guys in New York with the Yankees, or the top 2 guys in Boston. They just don't have the experience. We're going to see where that comes into play but to just have 2 separate series against the Detroit Tigers and to get them again back at home, it's gonna be a wild one. It's gonna be. I don't know what it's called now, but it was the Jake when I was there. So, but The
Progressive
Guardians
field, but it's always
progressive
going to be
here.
Jacobs Field. Yeah.
It's the Jake. It's the
Yeah.
Jake to me, and I played in that atmosphere in 2001. We had to play the crazy that stack team of
Yeah.
2001. So I already know what it's like to play postseason baseball in Cleveland, man. And they
Yeah.
kudos, man. Like that is crazy. You don't ever hear about this. I don't think you can do this in Little League. What was done, what transpired here at the big league level right now. I mean, so yeah, the Tigers are walking in very wounded and a little bit shook a little bit. So and man, I'm telling you, I'm sure the Guardians are ready to pounce. They are ready to pounce on everything to even show them again what we are made out of. So it could be an interesting series also.
Absolutely. All right, Mike, real quick, short answer. Who you got coming out of the AL? Who you got coming out of the NL? And you will not be considered a homer if you say Mariners, because we all know how good they are.
Look, I said Mariners Padres, I think a long time ago. So I'm gonna go. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. I'm gonna go Mariners out of the AL. Whew. And I'm probably gonna go. Oof. I'm gonna go Padres / Dodgers in the NL. So I just think that it's very well possible. We know it's a crapshoot, but once you get to those 5 games and that 7 gamer, you got to play some baseball. So I give it an opportunity to see what happens, coming up.
I'm going Mariners Phillies. Again, I just look
Oh
at
yeah.
those are the teams I just look at them like I think they're the most stacked.
Yeah.
But again, given our track record of our preseason predictions for the Padres, we know that a lot of things can go differently, and if that continues, we will both be very wrong. And just to wrap it up,
Yeah.
Mike, I do want to ask, the
Yeah.
Padres, what do you think their potential is in the postseason? How far do you think this team can go? I want to wrap it up with this.
I do think that they could possibly meet up with. Wow. I mean, more than likely they would have to play that. Are
If
they
they
in the
beat
same
the
break?
Cubs, they play the Brewers in the DS, and then the CS would be theoretically either the Dodgers or the Phillies, unless the Reds
Yeah,
do something insane.
yeah. So matching up with the Brewers, man. The one thing that I will say is if you get on a run as you're playing, and you don't know how those teams are going to come out of this first series off.
Yeah,
So I mean, I always think there's an advantage and a disadvantage to being
yeah,
the top 2 seeds, but it does give you a chance to set your rotation. So, um, so I mean, I'll give them a chance to win a couple of games against the Brewers for sure. So, and that will probably match up with in the division series, I think it
yeah,
is.
yeah. If they beat the
So,
Cubs, they'll go to
yeah,
Milwaukee.
yeah. So, yeah, I mean, could be very interesting. This is very. I've been on the West Coast, so my West Coast mind. I'm sorry, Phillies fans. I'm so sorry. I
Yeah,
forgot you guys are, and they are playing very well also,
yeah,
and they understand this more than anyone. So once again, I do think it's going to come down to how some of the starters perform, to give or take. But to be able to have a run and you got to play on the road a lot, it's going to be tough. It
yeah.
definitely is going to be tough.
I think the ceiling for this Padres team is the NLCS.
Hmm.
I think there's certainly a scenario they beat the Cubs. Again, like I said, if they beat the Cubs, it wouldn't shock me. I wouldn't consider it an upset. I think these are two evenly matched teams. I can see it going either way. The Padres match up really, really well with the Brewers. They do everything the Brewers do well, and they have some more firepower. I actually
Yeah,
think I would take the Padres over the Brewers in the DS. I really do.
yeah.
The CS, the Phillies are a terrible matchup for the Padres, an awful matchup for the Padres, given
Yeah.
how explosive their offense is, given how many
Lefties.
quality lefties they can throw at you,
Yeah.
like Luzardo, Sanchez, Suarez. That's a terrible matchup for the Padres. I think if the Phillies and Padres met in the NLCS, the Padres maybe get a game, tops.
Yeah.
If the Dodgers get past the Phillies and it's a Dodgers Padres NLCS, first of all, it would be absolute insanity out here. It would be wild.
We've seen this before.
And that was just for those are just for the DS. Imagine a CS with a World Series on the line.
Yeah.
Man, those two teams, how much passion's in there? Again, the Dodgers won the season series. They won the division. They are the better team. But we've seen, Padres get hot and they can take them down. We saw that in the DS in 2022, and I think it would be a great series. But I do think, for me, this Padres team, I think the cap would be the CS. Now, I say all that, and they have exceeded my expectations each of the last 2 years. Last year, similarly, I thought they'd be like a mid-80s win team. They won 93. So we'll see. It's possible. Once again, I'm light on them, and this team realistically has shown they deserve the benefit of the doubt with everything they've done this year. Mike, any final thoughts as we wrap up our final show of the regular season?
It's been a great one, great experience. But at the same time, this is the best time of the year in baseball. You're gonna start seeing some great games here. It starts tomorrow, Tuesday. Or this
Tuesday.
starts Tuesday.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, I
Padres
gotta
and
get.
Cubs will first pitch is at 12:08 p.m. Pacific. They're the second
Oh
game of the
wow.
day. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, man, I just think that it's going to be a great postseason run here. Now we're over all of the seedings and where everybody's going to be. It's the now time, man. You get a chance to get in the tournament and play for the trophy, man. So it's going to be exciting. It's always going to be exciting. So I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your expertise and insight. Mike, I got to tell you, it has been a blast doing it with you this year, and we are not done. We still have many more shows in the postseason, but the first season of Friar Territory, the first regular season, I should say, is complete.
Yes.
Mike, it has been a pleasure. Thank you for everything, my friend. And to all the listeners out there who have made this such a great first full season, we appreciate you. For those of you who are just joining the bandwagon, go ahead, subscribe to Friar Territory now, hit that like button, subscribe button, review us, 5 stars, all the good stuff. This has been a fantastic first season, and we are stoked for the playoffs. We will have a full preview tomorrow. We will have post-game recaps of every playoff game, and we will be breaking every detail down for you as the Padres attempt to get to the World Series. For Mike Cameron, I'm Kyle Glaser. Thank you for watching and listening. We will see you on Tuesday.